Okay, so for this task, you are going to do an artist analysis. So there are different kind of levels that you can aim for. So for a grade one, all you would do are just bullet points noting what you can see in Teesha Moore's artwork. For a grade two, you'll turn these bullet points into full sentences describing what you can see. So you might talk about the type of colours you can see, the patterns, or perhaps the text that's written in her work. For a grade three, you will then expand on these full sentences and start to add in your own personal opinion. So I think she's used these colours because, or I think the text means this, etc., etc. For a grade four and five, you will do all those things, but you'll also start to include some background information on Teesha Moore. So you might want to do a bit of research on the internet, and you can include this in part of your analysis. And then for a grade six, you could also include some relevant quotes about Teesha Moore. Her website is a really good place for you to visit for this. We'll put a link into this video and on the bottom of the YouTube page so you can access this. It is written by Teesha Moore, so you can pull it directly from there as a quote, and then you can explain why you think that is relevant to what you're writing. Mr. Rooney is going to give you a really clear example of how to do this in the video that's going to follow.
So, this is Teesha Moore. Um, I really like this first opening statement that she's put on here. I think it tells us a lot about who she is as an artist in person. I am mad about creating on the pages of my journal. I believe in following your passions. I spend time in the company of trees. I love my man, boast about our two grown daughters, and sing when no one else is around. I drive fast cars too. To me, that statement, and to some extent the picture as well, give us a sense of how quirky this artist can be. And I think she shows us that also in her work. So I'm going to just talk through this particular image of hers, just as an example of how you might go about interpreting the piece in your own way. You don't have to use this one. You can use any from the sheet, or if you have a look at her website, if you find another image that you prefer, then work from that. So, what do we see in this image? Well, first of all, if I'm describing the composition, I can see a large character to the left-hand side of the page. This large character has two different types of eyes, and then what appears to be a photocopied face underneath it. There are lines going around the shape of the face, and there are little crosses adding pattern over the top of it. There's an awful lot of pattern around one of the eyes, and then that pattern also feeds into the rest of the image. The colours on this one are predominantly green and black, but that pink that she's put on really jumps out. And I think the vibrant colours she's using here really tie in with her quirky style. Then if we focus on some of the words that she's put in, she's put, when you think at that moment that it's possible, then the magic starts. So this is quite an optimistic and empowering statement, talking about how you can make magic and make things that might seem hard become possible. It's that moment when you realize something is possible, then it opens up so many other options to you. There's also a sentence at the bottom, I will protect you, and you can see how that's sheltering the image of a man in the bottom right hand corner, and my wing will be your shelter. Now, that idea of a wing and sheltering someone with your wing is very nurturing. And if we think about her statement on her website, talking about how she loves to boast about her children and how much she loves her man, I think this is one of her ways of showing that nurturing side of her character. You can see how she tries to build on that theme as well, in the way that she's used collage to create what appears to be a sort of feather pattern where her body would be. And again, look at all the different patterns and textures that you see within each of those separate feathers. To add to that, I can also see in the pattern in the middle of the image, which is the white and brown lightest part of the image, potentially something that might look like a bird's head. So again, we've got this idea of this kind of mothering, loving, nurturing creature that's perhaps looking after her young. So pick your own images. Make sure you take account of the grade boundaries and what you need to be aiming for. Make sure you're pushing yourself with that as well. There is also another sheet inside the pack that will help you scaffold an analysis so you can use that for reference.